pranams, everybody. Okay. Hey, how are you doing this Monday morning?
Good.
Good.
Good. Okay. So, Suyash Prabhu, do you have
Yes,
the reading order and the Vigyapti Panchaka call?
yes, Mataji, I have both. So the reading order is as follows: Sutapa Mataji, Suyash, Manasi, Ishwari Radhika Mataji, Priti Radhika Mataji, Shraddha Mataji.
Okay. Hari
Did I miss
Krishna.
anyone?
Yes, yeah, please bring on the prayers. And then we have
Uh,
Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu, Neha Mataji, and Vidyavadhu Mataji on the Facebook. Okay. Welcome and my Dandrat pranams to all of you. And Suyash, are we good or you wanted to say something more?
yes, I'm good.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Matsamo Nasti Papatma Naparadhi Chakaschana Parihare Pilajame Kim Bruve Purushottama Yuvatinam Yatha Yuni Yunam Cha Yuvato Yatha Mano Bhiramate Tadvan Mano Me Ramatam Tvahi Bhumao Skalita Padanam Bhumirevavalambanam Tvai Jata Paradhanam Tvameva Sharanam Prabhu Govinda Vallabhe Radhe Prarthaye Tvam Aham Sada Tadiyam Iti Janatu Govindo Mam Tvaya Saha Radhe Vrindavanadhishe Karunamrita Vahini Kripaya Nija Padabja Dasyam Mahyam Pradiyata. Okay, and now for the translations. And welcome Vinu Kohli Mataji to the call on Facebook. Good to have you here this Monday morning. Who goes in next to read?
Yeah, me, Mataji. O Purushottama, no sinner or offender is as bad as I am. How can I describe my shame? Just as the minds of young ladies take pleasure in a young man, and the minds of young men take pleasure in a young woman, kindly let my mind take pleasure in you alone.
Just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, you alone are the only shelter for those who have offended you. Next, Mansi is yet to join.
Who comes after that? Are you waiting for Mansi?
Okay, Mansi is here.
All right, Mansi arrives.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
O Srimati Radharani, beloved of Lord Govinda, this is my request. May you and Lord Govinda consider me one of your assistants.
Haribol. Okay, so time for us to reflect on these prayers. And by the way, I have loaded these prayers and
Mataji, the last one is Ishwari Radhika has to read.
Oh, she has still to mute. Oh, sorry, I got distracted. Okay, Ishwari Radhika, sorry for bumping on you. You can unmute yourself. Yeah.
O Srimati Radharani, O Queen of Vrindavan, you are a river flowing with the nectar of mercy. Please be kind to me and give me a little service at your lotus feet.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat
Hare
Pranam,
Krishna, Dandat Pranam, Jai
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna
Okay.
Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Sorry. Dandat Pranam, Kyadi Mataji. All right, now for the new reading order. So, Yash Prabhu, please do us the honors of telling us how we should read today morning. Suresh Prabhu. You are on mute. Suresh Prabhu, you are on mute.
Sorry, I have always type in the chat. So here is the reading order. Sutapa Mataji, Suyash, Manasi, Ishwari Radhika Mataji, Priti Radhika Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Khyati Mataji, Niral Prabhu, Shraddha Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Good to see you all. And Suresh Prabhu is about 10 miles away from where I live, but I see both of you wearing warm clothes. Huh? It must be clothes up there. Cold
It's
up.
always
It's always-
winter here.
Wow, yeah. So it's, as Mark Twain said, I think the coldest city in the summers is coldest city is in the world is San Francisco in the summers.
It's cold in Northeast, Mataji. Still, the weather is not warming up.
Over there.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. So how about some reflections? What you read so far?
The word nectar of mercy.
River of nectar of mercy. Good. Very good.
How can I describe my
Consider me your servant.
Consider me my servant. Resume submitted. I'm very ashamed of myself. Okay.
And those whose feet have slipped, they have no other shelter but the ground. Similarly, those who have done any offense to you, Lord, they have no other shelter but you.
But to come to you, isn't it? Yeah. I still remember when my daughter was small, if I ever scolded her for something, like she's doing something at the corner of the room, like, putting your hands in red ink pot and things like that. And then you'll just say like, what are you doing? And then she would come and then she would, hug me like that. It's like somebody's scolding you and then you're running back to that person and to hug, but this is how it is. Yeah, similarly, devotees don't know where to go. Their only, resort is to go to Krishna. Okay, good. So are we ready to go into Bhagavad Gita, or are there more reflections that you'd like to share?
When I fall down, Mataji, on your earth, you are the only one who hold me again. I really like this all the time.
Very nice. Okay, good. And
sorry for being late, Mataji, today. I
No
got
problem.
a little busy.
No problem. No, you don't have to explain that at all. So then we have Neha Mataji or Vidyavadhu Mataji, mind to take shelter in you alone, the very first one. Okay. Yeah. And Suresh Prabhu or Niral, who was speaking? Sorry, my eyes were away from the screen.
So Yash, Mataji, can you just remove the download bar from below? That way we have more.
Oh, okay. So you see more of that. Yeah. Sorry about that. I need to also get rid of bookmarks.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. My life depends on bookmarks, So you find them all. Oh, I switch them off in the morning and I switch them back again. Okay. All right. So who goes in now?
Preeti,
Okay. So let's.
observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhan went to his teacher and spoke the following words.
Just scroll up.
So, Varshana, I am on text
my teacher.
on the top. Yeah, yeah.
O my teacher, behold the great army of sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupad. Here in this army are many heroic bowmen, equal in fighting to Bhim and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yudhan, Virat, and Drupad.
There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chakitan, Kasiraj, Purujit, Kunti Bhoja and Shaipya. There are the mighty Yudhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamoja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
Text 7. But for your information, O best of Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwatthama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta, called Bhurishrava, who are always victorious in battle. Mataji, your
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for me, my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by Grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhan joy.
After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya, Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of the Herculean task, blew his terrific conch shell called Pondra. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell. Mother, you can take it. His conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sughosha and Manipushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadumya, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells.
The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra.
Sanjay said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of armies of both parties. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Parth, all the Kurus assembled here. Hare Krishna.
There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning.
I'm now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness.
O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, Why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this art. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressions. They are aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why would we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion.
When irreligion, sorry, when irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of the Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny.
Scrolling up.
An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield.
Sanjay said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. So we finished our first reading of the day, reading from the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and we did it, the chat together, right? So there's a saying in India that 1 + 1 is not 2, but it is actually 11. So together we can do that. Sometimes it's difficult to do it on our own. So that makes it important to come to the association of devotees and read the Shastras. So what did you glean from this reading? What words stuck your mind? What thoughts are there in your mind today?
I have heard from this disciplic succession.
You heard from the disciplic succession. Very good.
Arjuna is compassionate.
Arjuna is compassionate. Yeah, he's being
The
overwhelmed
sound,
with compassion.
the sound became uproarious that vibrated the sky and on the earth, and that shattered the hearts of the
Sons
sons.
of Dhritarashtra. Yes, very
Power
good.
of
Yes,
sound vibrations.
exactly. Yes. Power of sound vibrations, and sometimes also the power of narration, how they write in these scriptures that you can visualize all that and you start feeling. So sometimes words also convey sound by themselves, right? Okay.
I'm forgetting myself and my mind is reeling.
Mind is reeling. Is the mind reeling today morning because of Ekadashi Vrata?
No.
So you had a nice feast on Ekadashi, right? Ekadashi means try out new Ekadashi dishes. Goranga potatoes. Okay, what else? Anything else before we go into the verse? And today we're going to continue with the verse from yesterday, right? Verse number 30. So we'll quickly read, and who's going to read that?
I think Varshana Mataji, she read.
There
Only
you go,
one.
Varshana Mataji. Okay, then you get to read the Sanskrit.
न च शक्नोमि अवस्थातुं Brahmatevan cha me manaha nimitani cha pashyami vipritani keshava.
Very nice. Okay, who else is going to do the synonyms today?
Me, Mataji. Na, nor, cha, also. Shakomi, am I able? Ashwathatum, to stay.
Avasthatum.
Oh, sorry. Avasthatum, to stay. Bharamati, forgetting. Eva, also. Cha, and. Me, my. Mana, mind. Nimittani, causes. Cha, also. Pashyami, I see. Viparantitani, just the opposite. Keshava, O killer of the demon, Kesi.
Keshi. Okay. Yeah, so there were many new words here, right? Shaknomi, right? Shaknomi, I am able. So you see, even in the Hindi language, we see many kar sakta, you know, sakta, right? From shakta, it's coming here. I don't shaknomi, I don't have the power to do that. Shakna, shakti. Okay. Avasthatum. So like they say, right? What's your avastha these days? Like, where are you situated these days? Avasthatum, to stay. Then Brahmati. Brahmati is like the mind, something has happened to the mind and you are forgetting because of that. Right? Nimittani, causes, right? Majorly causes, but other meanings also. Pashyami comes in again here, right? Seeing. We have been addressing seeing a lot, right? And what does he see? Viparitani. Viparit means opposite. So viparitani. Viparitani, just the opposite. And then, of course, Keshava, who is killer of the demon, Keshi, Krishna. Okay, who's going to give us
One more new name.
Yeah,
one
one more
more-
day for you, Varshana Mataji. Thanks for being vigilant. Yes, please, it goes into your thing. Yeah, and by the way, have you all been putting in your reflections?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so we go to Gita and let's look at the reflections that you have. From yesterday, you had some reflections on number 30?
Yes.
No, Mataji, not for 30 because today we were to complete, so I thought.
Okay, good. So Khyati and Preeti have put some reflections. Okay. Khyati says the effect of fear has taken over so much that Arjun doesn't want to stand it. Right. And then here on the keywords, conditioned soul forgets the center of everything as Krishna and suffers it. Okay. I need to fix this thing because it's overflowing. Then Preeti Radhika, when we are in a dilemma and the choice is not very clear on what is good and what not to be good. Yeah. So then dilemma and fear were the two keywords there. Okay, good. Yeah, please continue. Please continue to update this. It gets updated every 5 minutes. So those of you who are watching us online can always go to nityasankirtan.com and look at all these notes that devotees are writing for you. And I'd also like to welcome Edwin Jenkins Prabhu from Michigan. Welcome. I'm glad to have you on the call. So yeah, so that's this. And I also wanted to let you know that you wanted to have the prayers, right? And on the prayers with Gyapti, Pankchaka, and you wanted to have the MP3. So I put the MP3 for you over here. And then on the Gita sorry, I shouldn't have jumped from so quickly. On the Gita page, you also wanted to know the Sanskrit pronunciation guide, right? So I put also the Sanskrit pronunciation guide for you here. There's plenty of
Hare
work.
Krishna Mataji. I mean, when I open Nitya Sankirtan, it comes to scriptures and then the prayers. Gita doesn't come.
Yeah, Mataji, I think your device must have stored that information and it's showing you an older version of the website because the website gets updated every day. So you might have to refresh,
Okay, do
refresh
you
your.
see it in the options menu? Like
See,
in the menu options. Earlier it was there in the menu options.
yes, I've removed it from there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I keep moving these things around depending on where the data goes. Also, not to duplicate the data, make it easy and things like that. Yeah. Okay. So home Gita prayers and Vande Guru. All right. So should we get going into our main business of the day, which is reading from 130? Keshi Demon. So the name, right? Varshana Mataji, give the name. And once you have the names ready, we'll think of getting those names also on this website. Okay. Purport. Who's going to give us the purport today?
Mataji, I'll read.
Okay, go ahead.
Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield, and he was forgetting himself on the account of his weakness, this weakness of his mind. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Bhayam.
Yeah, cut it into pieces. That's the only way to handle such a big word. Yeah.
Dvitiya binivesataha.
There you go.
Syat. Bhagavatam 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 37th verse.
Very good.
Such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani, viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would...
Can you scroll up?
Yeah. Is it there?
That his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him.
Okay, good. Time now for reflections.
Hare Krishna Mataji, the word like the one's real self-interest lies in Vishnu, but sometimes we forget, and that is the cause for all of the miseries and all of the miseries. That's all.
All of the miseries, yeah. But this is a very, very, very important thing, that where should our center be in our lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where should our center be? Is my center Krishna or is my center Vishnu, right? And Prahlad Maharaj also says that. That those who don't know that, those who do not know, it's a very famous verse, right? It's a very famous verse from Prabhupada often used to quote that verse. Nate gate swarthavat gatim hi Vishnu. So those who do not know that the ultimate aim of life is Vishnu, then what happens to them is that, they will just continue to fall down into hellish conditions. And they will repeatedly chew, punar charvita charvananam. They repeatedly chew what has already been chewed. And their inclinations towards Krishna will never get aroused, even if others tell them, or even if they try to do it on their own, or even if it's a combination of, others telling you and you try to do it your own. But as long as you have this proclivity to be addicted to material enjoyments, then you cannot go and think about Vishnu. So it's either or, right? This or that, like that. Okay, good.
It is kind of bondage, Mataji. Means it's like that so many things, material thing, if you want, then it's like you are tied up, like 2 hands, 2 legs, and everything is tied up. Because what I'm reflecting, that one scene, means we have seen so many times in India that elephant, they put a chain on that elephant's leg, or they just pull. So it's like that. So if we have so many material things, means honestly speaking, Mataji, when I have started that in the beginning, that time we have so many material expectation and so many material bondage. Now gradually it's coming less. I cannot tell that it's all over, but now it is less.
That's good. Yeah. Abhyas, yogena. Constant practice, doing it again and unfailing, have faith in the process, and it will take you. And you see the testimonial of Sutapa Mataji. Yeah. And those of you who are watching us online, which now also includes Rinku Mataji, Nilanjana, and also Shraddha Karmakar and Divyanga Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. And if you have thoughts, please do share on the Facebook by putting your comments there. Or just say Hari Bol so that we know you're there. Yes. And so going back to Sutapa, yes. And the modes of material nature, right? How many modes of material nature are there?
3.
Three, right? What are they called in Sanskrit or Hindi?
Sattva-guna, Rajogun, Tamogun.
Guna, right? The guna also means rope, right? So Sutapa was saying that they tie you up. These material things, they tie you up. Yes, these modes of material nature, they tie you up. And there's that very famous picture, right, of how Maya has got us in the strings, like in the strings, right? And it's a very interesting thing about tying up. About tying up is that, there are two types of tying up that can be done. One type of tying me up is that, somebody can come and, bind my hands and my feet, and I'm just there. I just can't move anywhere. I can't go anywhere. Right? That's one kind of a binding. The second kind of a binding is the kind of binding that the puppeteer does. What does the puppeteer do to the puppet? The puppet is also bind, right? There's ropes and there are threads that connect the puppeteer to the puppet, right? But can the puppet move? Yeah, the puppet moves a lot, actually, isn't it? Puppet moves a lot, but then it is still under the control of the puppeteer, like that. So similarly, the human soul, when it is inside the human body, it is like that. So Maya is the puppeteer, and we are just dancing to the tune till someday we realize that, nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu, till we realize that, oh my goodness, what am I doing? My main aim in life is to find Vishnu and do devotional service to him. Yeah, good, very good reflection, Mataji. Any other things that come to mind?
Mataji, this says when man sees the frustration, he always feels why I am here. That frustration makes you see, so disappointed that you can't even think straight whatever is good next to you. Only bad one can see, not the good one.
Yeah. And that is why this whole chapter is also called, Vishad yoga of frustration. Because of frustration, you'll get so frustrated at all this, and then you'll say, okay, I need to find something higher. I need to find something higher. All these things, all these miseries, all these things. I'm trying to find solutions to all these things. And I always tell that, when I started my career in the computer science, there used to be very old types of computers. There was just one terminal, like, which meant a screen, and there was a keyboard, and you would go there and work, and people would take turns. Like, from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I would go. Then 10 o'clock, you have to get up because somebody else has to come and use it. It was like that. And so I would, type and then make mistakes, then I used to think that, oh God, if there was only some way that I could point to the screen and, like, use my fingers and erase it out or something, like, instead of giving commands and things like that. And of course, in my lifetime came the mouse and also the touch sensitive screens also came, right? But then what happens with the mouse? You're sitting here with the mouse, you're extending your hands, and then because of doing those repetitive movements of going to the mouse and, doing that I got pain in my permanent damages to my hands. And then the touch screen was there. It was okay, like, touch screen is good. And then they said, oh, okay, your hands don't work, but you have to work. And so let's give you a voice recognition software which will recognize your voice. So apart from the fact that it had to be trained to understand the English accent, Indian accent, it also made me feel very thirsty. And by the end of 8 hours of talking in the office into my computer, I used to feel so tired by the end of the day that when I came home, I wouldn't want to talk to anybody. So what was happening is, there's some material problem and some desire which got fulfilled. But because of that one material problem and trying to fix it with more material solutions, kept on, dragging me down and down, down and down, down and down into the whirlpool of this material world. Still, sometimes you have to say, God, what is it? I can't stay here any longer. I'm going to get out of this corporate America, like that. So yes, yoga of frustration. Yeah. What else?
Shraddha, so for me, it stood out that In the purport, it was written, Srila Prabhupada has written that fear and loss of mental equilibrium comes from attachment to material existence. And that's like so powerful. It's like, just like what you had mentioned based upon Suttapa Mataji's reflection. So it connected for me.
Exactly. And I said on Saturday during the Bhakti Vish class, I was talking about that very famous king who said that he was sick and the doctors could not cure him. And one of the doctors said that, okay, he'll be okay if he sleeps in the shirt of a happy man. And then his couriers go all over the world to find a happy man and they can't find him till they've come to a beggar, right? They come to a beggar and this beggar is very happy, jovial, lively. He's, dancing, falling on the grass, getting up again and all that. And then they said, all right, this is a man. So they go to him and say, like, give us your shirt. And he says, I don't have a shirt. So yeah, no material attachments. The more material attachments that you have, that is what is going to, when did you get up in the morning and worry about your soul getting a cold or your soul getting affected by coronavirus or whatever, right? We always worry about our material things, right? Our material possessions, our material situations, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And it is so mind-boggling. That's why they have, there's a mind-boggling. Bhramati vachemana, right? Yeah.
And Mataji, that is also so subtle that we feel defending, right? But I have to be in this world, so I have to do that.
Yes, Maya is very strong. Maya is very
Defend it, right? In a way. So what
it-
we were reading, we defend it, right? That it's obvious that I will feel like this.
yes, yes, yeah. And the compromise. And we keep on doing the compromise, right? So whenever we are said, look, maybe it is like that, and maybe she's also suffering, so that's fine. Suffering is the way to go. So that is, wrong guidance coming our way. We have to be lucky enough to get good guidance like that. Yeah.
Mataji, we brought back that we have to go to a higher level to be able to solve the level at current. And this is what you brought up today, and it was discussed on Saturday, I think, in the Bhakti Vriksha class. And even over the weekend when we were discussing, this came up during our discussion. Okay, let's do it this way. Means at least try to look at a higher plane to see how this can be solved.
Exactly. And sometimes because of not looking at the higher planes, especially when we are at work, we get very boggled. And sometimes you might just be very frustrated as to why my manager is asking me to do this. Why did she do that? Why did he do that? Like that, again and again. But they have a bigger picture. They are looking at your project, they're looking at your company, and sometimes we might just sit in our corner and say, I'm doing the best possible work, very, and giving it 150%, and doing something which is good. Maybe what you're working on is very good, but your manager comes and says, no, stop that project. Why? They have a bigger picture. They are seeing not your product, but what about the marketplace? What about the market demand? Like that. So they always have a bigger picture, and who can have so the higher you go, the better picture you have. Isn't it? Right? So if you go to Golok Vrindavan, from there you can see the best. So why not just take that advice from someone who lives up there? Right?
That's good, Mataji.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Like how you solve the problems, right? Problem solving skills.
Problem solving skills, yeah. And Arjuna will come, Krishna will come and give you, problems that we can't even think of.
But he moves from the root cause, right? The first thing he introduces is like your soul. So
Yes, and that was because of the faulty seeing that Arjuna was doing. He was not seeing things properly, right? He was seeing things on the material plane. Some of the things that he's saying are right? But that kind of thinking is not going to remove the bhramati cha me mana. So something is happening to him, right? Because of his feeling, because of the process of his thinking. If it was okay, then he would have felt very good. But he's not feeling good. And so Krishna is there, like, let's find out a solution to this problem. Yeah. What else?
Shraddha, so in your class yesterday, you had talked about dilemma, like Arjuna is in dilemma, and we also ourselves find ourselves like in dilemma every other day, right?
Yes.
And then, there's some dilemmas that are very easy to figure out, like, hey, I'm not going to have non-veg, I'm not going to take intoxication even if I'm in a company where they're taking. Those are easy dilemmas, but they are hard dilemmas that, there'll be benefit if I make this choice, but there'll be benefits if I make the other choice, but there'll be negatives too. So for those, it's like, go to your mentors, go to your trusted advisors, and maybe think of like what's the higher good, and then dilemmas become easier to pick.
Yes, yes, very, very rightly put. Exactly. So the difficulty is the good over the good, right? Should I wear shorts or should I wear a sari? Easy decision. Should I wear a red sari? Should I wear a green sari? That's where the dilemma comes. Like that. And sometimes the mind can go for very, very small things. For example, you're having prasadam, right? Right after Ekadashi, I'm talking about prasadam. And so somebody comes and puts the plate, like Niral Prabhu, Khyati Mataji makes a nice plate for you. And then she puts gulab jamuns and kheer. And you are thinking, should I have kheer first? Should I have gulab jamun first? That's a dilemma. Good and good. How do you select, right? That's always a difficult thing, right? If she was to put one katuri of non-veg and one prasadam, very easy decision. And then most of the times in life, good and bad, we are devotees. We have already learned that fact. But when it comes to good and good, and this is what Arjuna is facing, right? As a Kshatriya, he's supposed to kill. But he's also looking at it from his faulty vision. He's also looking at, this is my relative, this is my relative. And these are my teachers, and how can I kill them? Right? Yeah. So that's a very important point. And this is what is actually the crux of this particular chapter, that Arjun has now come into a situation where he doesn't know what to do. So when you are in dilemma, what are you supposed to do?
Reach out to when your intelligence fails, use somebody else's intelligence.
Yeah, you use
Yeah.
There you go. I'd also like to welcome Mamta Kashiraj Mataji, who is there watching us. I'm just so very happy to see you on the call, Mamta. It's almost 7, 8 years after that I'm connecting with you. So awesome. Yeah. So, and then that Arjuna, when he's looking at these things on the battlefield, and you remember in the previous version, this Tvayam Swajanam Krishna, so I'm seeing Swajana. He sees Swajana, he's seeing my own people, but he doesn't see that they are wicked, right? Duryodhan, Dushashan, what is there? I mean, why are you feeling proud to say that they are Swajana?
No, but he even saw, right, who is here to please the evil-minded Duryodhan. So
Yeah.
he knows that.
Yeah. Look at that, how the vision changes from year to year. And this is called Bhramati Chame Manaha. The mind goes here, oh, they are good. The mind goes there, they're bad, right? He starts that. Yes, this is exactly what is happening to him, like that, right? So sometimes people might have their own, their own vision and way of looking at it. And not only just people, you also see that at different points in time, you can have a different vision. For example, if there is a war between two countries, the countrymen of each other country think that my country is right? Although one of them has got to be in the wrong, right? Like that. So Arjun is, like his body became hard. He's full of emotions like that. And then when our mind comes into contact with there's a fire engine coming in some place.
In India, Mataji.
It's in India. Okay, if you can mute India. So here we have the mind. We talked about the mind goes here and there. The mind is Brahmati. So how does Prabhupada translate Brahmati? The mind is forgetting. The mind is forgetting, what am I supposed to do? Why am I here? And things like that, right? Because there are so many thoughts that are coming into Arjuna's mind at like that, right? So these are called waves, vritti in the mind. All these thoughts come like waves. And so it's kind of like, how when we are in a ship, When we are in a ship and the ship is on the sea, and then if the waves come, then the ship is going to move, right, here and there. And so what do we do if we want to prevent a ship from moving, right? What do the shipmen do, or the sailors, captains do? They will, if it's a big if it's a big hurricane or big storm there, they will let down the anchor, right? Anchor is a heavy, something heavy, right, that they will tie with a rope so that it doesn't move too much here and there. So whenever you're finding these kind of vrittis, and the mind, human mind is like a monkey. And this is coming from the Shastras. Markatasya shurapanam tasya vrichu danshanam tanmadde bhutam sancharam yadda tadva bhavashyati. So it says Markatasya shurapanam. So our mind, the movements of our mind is like a markat, like a monkey. So you know how monkeys are. They are so playful. One time they're on this branch, other time they're on that branch, right? Jumping from here to there, here to there. So the mind is like a monkey. Like, no, wait. The mind is not like a monkey. The mind is actually like a monkey who has taken alcohol. Markatasya surapanam. So you have put alcohol on the top of the monkey. Tasya vrichu danshanam. So, after that, so with the alcohol, the monkey is going to be boisterous and is going to jump even more. And then after that, tasya vrichu danshanam. Vrichu is a scorpion. So then on top of that, a scorpion comes and bites the monkey. So you can imagine how much the monkey is going to jump now. Tasya vrichu danshanam. Not enough yet. Tanmadhe bhutam sancharam. And then on top of that, a ghost comes to live inside the monkey. That is the situation of our mind. That is how our mind is. That is how quickly it can move from one place to another place. So we have to find an anchor. We have to find an anchor of the Lord. And then going back to your comment, like, Vishnu, we have to, always remember. And the ropes of Maya are like that they will make you forget. They'll make you forget. They'll make you think this is very good. This is me. This is mine. My uncle, my teacher, my this, my that. So we have to always keep, be grounded, find your anchor. And who best is the anchor than anchoring everything into Krishna? And then, as I think Khyati Mataji pointed out, it said, Nacha shaknomi avasthatum, right? He said, avasthatum, situated. I cannot stay here. Now you're saying I can't stay here after 2 conch shells? Weren't you the one who came in that fantastic chariot and said, show me the Durbuddher whom I have to fight, right? So you see how quickly the mind turned for Arjuna, how quickly the mind moves, and he's made a decision. I can't stand here, which means like, take me out. He just now told him to put the Rath in the middle of the 2 armies, and now he can equally tell, easily tell Arjuna, let's go, let's leave, let's go. That he can say that, right? And then he wants to do that actually, and he will start with justification, because in some corner of the heart, he knows it's not the right thing, 100% to not fight. One upside of his is saying it's good to fight. And so he will give justifications for the rest of the chapter. He will start giving justifications why he should not fight. And all those justifications are tuned into what we call as the WII FM channel. What's the WII FM? So WII FM means what's in it for me. WII FM. What's in it for me. We always tune our mind towards that FM channel, right? Those of you who have had are old enough to have used a transistor or radio where you used to tune the channels, right? This channel, that channel. You also do that on internet radio, but in a different way. So when you are tuning yourself to what's in it for me channel, then you're going to have these kinds of things, right? Then we get into the phalanx. You remember? Drishva tu Panduvani kam vyuram Duryodhanastada. Duryodhan saw that phalanx. So similarly, we also have to see the phalanx around us in this material world, which will come if you tune yourself to the WII FM channel. So you get into that phalanx of frustration from where we cannot come out by ourselves. Everything will seem hopeless as it is seeming hopeless for Arjuna. So we are in a situation where it is Arjuna is saying, Drishtvam Sajanam Krishnam, how do I kill them? But if I don't kill them, these are the people who did the wrong thing. It's my duty. So at one end is his duty as a prince that he has to fight, as a duty as a Kshatriya that he has to kill the evil. But on the other part is his WII-FM channel that is beckoning him and saying that, you know what, he's your teacher. You know, you're his favorite student. Here's your wonderful grandpa. You know, didn't he love you so much? How can you kill him like that? So this is for Arjuna, it is completely a lose-lose situation. I do this, I lose. I do that, I lose. Right? And so he has kind of like being cornered, like being pushed through his emotions and his intelligence, like that, pushed to a corner, does not know what to do. So flight, you know, I don't want to stand here. Let's leave like that. He doesn't want to do that. And like I was mentioning in the Saturday class, that when you are faced with these kinds of problems, then solution will come from a higher state, from a higher level than the consciousness that created that problem. So Arjuna's consciousness has created the situation, right? His Vishad. But then he has to now go to a higher planet, higher level of consciousness. And that Krishna will do, as we all know. Right? He takes him from this absolutely lose-lose situation to a win-win situation. In the end, he will say, right, I've understood everything. Thank you so much. And I will do Karishyami. Whatever you say, I will do. He'll move to that level. But right now, he's not at that stage. He's saying, Bhamati chatme manaha. I am forgetting, why am I here? Please tell me one more time. Can you please tell us, why am I here? What am I doing? Like, we do that all the time, right? Sometimes we get frustrated in the office. We turn to our colleague and say, can you tell me why I work for this damn company? Like that, you know. So we say that. So there is always dvanda. There's always some fight happening in our minds. And the fight is happening in the mind always because this material world is a world of duality. There will be, you know, this or there will be that. There is this option, there is that option. And like our Preeti Radhika pointed out, that decision between good and good is very easy. Why? Because it is both of the things are supported by Shastra. The good and bad is easy because, you know, Shastras will tell you, this is bad, this is good, very easy, I've got a reckoner. But when it comes to good and good, for example, Khyati Mataji, if you apply for vacation and your boss says, yes, although you have joined the company new, but take 15 days off. And now you'll be in a dilemma whether I should go to Mayapur or I should go to Vrindavan. Right? That's a dilemma. What should I do? Right? So that those kind of dilemmas are always there. And I had asked you yesterday to look at and tell me what kinds of dilemmas are there in the scriptures, which are good and good, or even from, you know, just being in, giving a very big hint, in ISKCON, good and good. Do you know anybody who faced a dilemma between good and good? Somebody to do with ISKCON?
Yeah, like even picking your spiritual master. Like there could be two spiritual masters you're so attached to, but you don't know which one to surrender to.
There you go. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. What else? When you say ISKCON, what word comes to your mind? The first thing.
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. Yes. And did Prabhupada face any dilemmas?
Yeah, when he was coming when he was at USA, I think Suyash Prabhu was mentioning from the movie, right? That he went to the harbor and thought that he can go back to Vrindavan and preach over there or continue preaching in US.
Yes.
Both are like would have touched the heart of people, but he decided to follow his spiritual master and stayed here, right? So.
Exactly. So when you look at Prabhupada there, you know, standing on the harbor, but should I take the ship back home or should I stay here in this New York City? So at one end were his emotions, his things that, you know, I'm feeling difficulty here in this country. Things are not just taking off the ground. That was one aspect. And the other aspect was his duty towards his spiritual master. His spiritual master had given him instructions, right? Preach to the Western world. and he took the side of his duty. He took the side of his duty, right? Like that. On a very sweeter note, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, you also see Damodar Leela, right? So in Damodar Leela, what has happened is Yashoda Ma is there. And all these gopis come and complain to her all the time that, Yashoda Ma, your son steals our butter. Your son stole, yogurt. Your son did this. Your son did that. Now, you wouldn't like that, right? If you're the mom or even your brother, somebody comes and complains about your relative and say they have been stealing, you don't like it. And Yashoda is well placed. So she just doesn't understand. So she thinks that maybe my maid servants don't make the butter as good. They don't make the yogurt as good. So she says, okay, I'm going to make it. And then what she does is that, she boils the milk from some of the best cows. And then, nicely boils it, and then feeds it to the cows again, right? So then these cows are now fed on good milk. And so the milk that they'll give is even better. And on Diwali day, she says, okay, now I'm going to boil the milk and make something for Krishna. And at the same time, Krishna wants to be breastfed. So she's feeding Krishna. And then what does she see? She sees the milk boiling on the stove. And now she's in a dilemma, what to do, right? And then she takes the side of the duty. She says, okay, I can always feed Krishna, right? But then the milk on the stove, I have to take care of it, because again, I'm going to use that milk for Krishna only. I mean, he's this little thief. I have to get out of that designation for him, get him out of that designation of being a thief, like that. So people are faced with dilemmas, and our dear Arjuna is also faced with a dilemma like that, right? So it's always between, personal thing versus your duty, personal things versus your duty. And so sometimes when people are saying that what does Gita teach you? Gita teaches you how to do your duty. And then people go off in a complete tangent saying, oh yeah, my duty is to take care of my family by hook or by crook. Right? But Prabhupada, that's why Prabhupada's purports are so powerful, because in the purport he's saying that you forget your real duty is towards Vishnu. Right? That is what Prahlad Maharaj also says, right? Nate vidur swartha gatim hi Vishnu. That, those who do not know that your main benefits are going to come with, and your duty is towards Vishnu. You'll get just completely tangled like that. So it's the mind. Our mind has got to be controlled. So he said, Bhamati chame mana. So why is his mind getting all this bothered and flustered? Why? Because he's seeing nimittani cha paschani vipiritani keshava. So he's seeing the end result. So nimittani also means end result. So he's seeing the end results are opposite of what I thought. I thought Ratham sthapyama ichyuta. Let me see who have come to fight me, and I'm going to kill all of them because they did things to my wife, right? And they usurped the kingdom of my elder brother. Let me see, how do I set them straight? But now he's seeing something completely opposite. And then there's a little bit of our WIIFM channel also, and he will tell that later on, because he's seeing that, okay, if we win this war and we win our kingdom back, then at the back of his mind is a question that with whom am I going to enjoy this kingdom? If all of them are going to die, who are arrayed in this battlefield, if all of them are going to die, I'll be all alone. Who will I enjoy it with? So that's that little thing in his mind that, for me, like, so end result, he's saying like, end result is not good. So sometimes you will get, some immediate results you get, but then there's an ultimate result also, right? So immediate result is that you kill them, and that was your goal. But then he's seeing ultimately what's going to happen. We are going to be unhappy. So ultimately, it's not going to be a good thing, right? So there always be some karana, right? So for example, when you come to this class, so in the morning you do something, right? You get out of your bed. And then you take the 600 or 600 steps, depending on how big your house is, to go to the place where you can join the Zoom call, right? So you join the Zoom call, so you get some result. You are in the meeting, right? And then ultimately, from the meeting, You gather, hear about Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and then you gather some spiritual knowledge. That is the end result, right? So, end result of going to a temple in ISKCON. What is the end result usually?
One day we will go to Golok Vrindavan.
Yeah. See, Priti Radhika thinks on a higher plane. That's why she's saying that if you come to the temple, you will go to Golok Vrindavan, right? Most of us, the end result of going to the temple is you get a nice place of prasadam, right? So there are end goals and there are end goals. And so Arjuna is looking far out. And so as Priti Radhika looked very far out and said, okay, the end goal of going to the temple is that you go back to Golok Vrindavan. But Arjuna is seeing, again, long term, Arjuna is saying, but for us, the end goal is bad. I'm seeing nimittani cha paschami viparitani. They are completely opposite of what we thought. We're not going to get that, right? So we have to always see the end results, and people do not see the end results. They are caught up, in the middle and the intermediate results that they are there. So that's why Arjuna later on will say in the second chapter that how can we guruni hatva, after killing my guru, how can I enjoy a kingdom which is tainted by the blood of my gurus, like that, right? So we have to always keep that in mind, that sometimes your end results are going to be bad, depending on how you're also achieving the results in the middle, like that, right? So nimittani, right? Nimittani cha pacyani viparitani keshava. Again, why is he seeing that, right? And Prabhupada mentions that there are some Krishna is seeing, Arjuna is seeing the wrong things there. Now nimittani is also in Sanskrit also means omens, omens. So have you ever observed any omens in your life?
Yeah, like if my bottom of my foot is itchy, I'll be traveling and that usually comes true. Like I'll have no plan, but I'm at least going to, like, say, even to Bay Area or something like that.
Little longer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Srimad Bhagavatam is full of stories where omens are depicted. For example, when Diti was pregnant with Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, the two demons were in her womb. All the other planetary systems were observing omens, bad omens, like that. So Arjuna is also getting that feeling, he's getting that feeling that there is something bad. So there is that intuition that we have. I mean, even animals have that. Like before a forest fire, what happens? Before the forest fire, the animals which are less agile come to know about it sooner, that there's going to be a forest fire, and then they leave the forest. For example, the elephants will start leaving the forest and they'll start moving out. So you'll see herds of elephants leaving a forest, then you know that a fire is going to come. So we know that. Nimittani cha paschani, viparitani. So he's saying, he's getting omens, right? And then because of all that, then he's saying that, why am I here? Why am I here? What am I doing here? And then he's saying that, okay, I cannot stay here. I cannot stay here. Let me just get out. And so he turns to Krishna. And then how does he address Krishna? What name does he give? Keshava. Right? So he says Keshava. So Keshava, Krishna killed why is Krishna called Keshava? Because he killed the Keshi demon. Right? So how did he kill the Keshi demon? Krishna sometimes does very gory things, right? I mean, apart from, swinging him and throwing him, a Keshi demon then again becomes conscious. What he does is he thrusts his hand inside the horse's mouth, and then the hand starts to expand, and he chokes the horse till the horse dies. And then as soon as the horse dies, Krishna is able to extract his hand. And this is between the time that Akrura is coming from Mathura to get him, and Krishna actually leaves and goes. So that is how he does that. So demons are like that, and why he's addressing him as Keshi, and different acharyas will tell different reasons for that. The simplest that we can see is that is that, you are the killer of Keshi demon, and doubts are like demons. So I am having these doubts. Should I fight or should I not fight? So Krishna, you are a killer of the Keshi demon. Please come and kill my doubts also. So it's the beginning like that, right? And then Kesh also, what is the other meaning of Kesh that you all know of?
Hair.
Yeah.
Hair.
Hair, right. So the acharyas also say that Krishna has got beautiful curly hair, Neela Kuntale, right? The gopis sing like that. So this is beautiful curly hair are all over his face, and he's looking very beautiful. Then he says, Keshi, you have got such beautiful hair. It's all about beauty. And why are you asking me to indulge in this ghastly form like that, right? And then one of the acharyas, he has this very nice way of, even talking about dialogues that are not even mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, we go by Bhagavad Gita by whatever Sanjay has said, right? But he'll go even further. So Keshi, again coming to the hair, we all have seen this beautiful picture of Krishna plaiting Radharani's hair, right? So he does that for Radharani. He takes her beautiful hair, puts some nice scented oil, and whatever makes the hair beautiful, and then he sits down and he makes the chutiya, right? He plaits her hair. So Krishna is addressing him, and he's saying that, well, Krishna, you plead Radharani's hair. But what, and so when you are pleating the hair, there's a sort of an entanglement, right? This side, that side, this side, that side, right? I can't demonstrate that to you. So he's saying that is also a sort of an entanglement. So you are the one, but you get entangled in Radharani's hair, right? And why are you asking me to get entangled in this war? Kill this, kill that, kill this, kill that. That's not good for me. And then Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur says, but then Krishna says, of course, we are not hearing this dialogue, but the beauty of it, he's trying to explain the point to you. And he says that Krishna smiles at Arjuna, and then Krishna says that, this Kesh, Kesh Vinayas, which is, plaiting of the hair. He says, you also have to do that. He reminds him of his duty. He's saying, you also have to do that, Arjuna. But your wife is Draupadi. You have to do the Kesh thing for her. And instead of oil, remember, you have to bring the blood of Duryodhan. Because when they did Chirhan for Draupadi, what did Draupadi do? She opened her hair and said, I will not tie it back again, right? She said, you have to tie the hair of Draupadi. You also have to do the three things. So Keshav, we are talking about Keshav, you all have your own duty of, taking care of that. So Krishna, is reminding him. He won't remind him like that, but, for the rest of the Bhagavad Gita, we hear that. So it's a very powerful, very, very powerful verse, which is kind of also, will do the segue of Arjuna being the big warrior to Arjuna becoming the great devotee that we have like that. Okay. So we are 7:40.
Mataji, one little doubt came to my mind that this dilemma is always there. Like you say, doing the duty, household duty, or the duty for the Lord. Sometimes some of the household duties don't match that it is for Krishna. So at that particular time, what should be done?
You have to look at the nimittani. You have to see the end result.
The end result.
Okay? End result, right? So let us see from different perspective what the end result for a lady can be if she doesn't do the household work. Let's see what's going to happen if you don't cook chapatis for your husband today and say, I'm sitting in the Bhagavad Gita class, you go figure it out. What will be some of the things that can happen in a household?
Husband get first of all, he can go and cook for himself or arrange not chapati but something so that he can serve himself.
Okay.
He might not like the Bhagavad Gita class we are attending.
Not like the Bhagavad Gita
Yeah.
attending, yeah. Right? So so that's what I was saying in the lecture today, that we sometimes get stuck with the intermediate, right? Intermediate, we think about the intermediate results. The intermediate result is, should I cook or not cook? Intermediate result, I have to attend the Bhagavad Gita class, I will attend the Bhagavad Gita class. Right? But you always have to have the big picture. Raise yourself to a higher plane and look at the big picture. Why has the Lord put you with this man in your life? Why are you married to Mr. X and not Mr. Y?
Mataji, I did not get that point.
Yeah, I'm just coming to that point, right? So it is a duty in a family that the spouses, each one of us, have to support each other in the pursuit of Krishna. That is the ultimate goal of our life. That is the ultimate reason. You have children. If you have children, then you bring them up in Krishna consciousness. If you don't have, doesn't matter. You have plenty of time to yourself go back to Godhead with your spouse. So we always have to keep in mind that our actions should not bring negativity in our family members against Krishna.
Yes, Krishna
Right?
consciousness.
And there are so many ways. I mean, food has to be served at a particular point in time. And you can be proactive about that. You can cook certain things before the class and maybe
Yeah,
some food after the class and
yeah,
cook certain things after it, or skip some parts of the class if it's dinner time. Like Khyati Mataji does that. She sits in the class for some time. She has to be at her work, even though she's not going to quote unquote to work, but she has to go to her desk to do the work, right? And so she will, quietly switch off a video. She's still listening. She's cooking. So you can make all those adjustments like that, right? The idea is not to make another one a non-devotee through our actions, not to make them hate Krishna through our activities, right? And sometimes you have to make compromises. I mean, Prabhupada was, when he came to USA, was sharing a room with somebody and sharing a refrigerator with somebody and a sannyasi,
yeah,
right? And a brahmana, yeah. And what did that person put in the refrigerator? Meat,
knowledge.
right? So he was tolerating. Why? For a bigger cause, for a bigger end result. He was like, okay, from my behavior, if they get to understand this is how a devotee behaves. What is a Vaishnava? Somebody asked Prabhupada that who is a Vaishnava? Can you define, what is a Hare Krishna devotee look like? How does he sit? How does he talk? Like that. So he said, well, a Hare Krishna devotee, they're all gentlemen and gentlewomen. So this is you preach through your behavior. If you are saying that sadhu, what are the properties of a sadhu? He's tolerant, right? He's well behaved. He's sweet. And if we are not that, then how can we say that we are sadhus? Right? And the interesting thing is that through this devotional, through this service that you do to your family members, if you're doing it in a nice and a sweet way, then they will also listen.
No,
But
yes, Mataji, it is, I mean, it does happen. Like you see in your life, if you're busy doing something for the family and husband understands that she is busy in this thing, let me do this thing so that we both can sit together and have food. I mean, that is not the problem, but sometimes certain duties comes, like you say, in between. The phone call came yesterday that my aunt passed away, and I saw the message. The only word I could see is profound. I said, there is something wrong somewhere. So I just read the message and I came to know that auntie has passed away. And then I took leave from you and went and attended the call.
So yes,
So
exactly. So you
at that time, you said,
yeah. You
so
maintain
this
the
way,
balance.
was it good or no?
It's
Was it
okay.
good or
But
no?
it is, we have to remember that we are souls. We are sentient beings. We have got feelings, right? And we have got death is ultimate.
Yeah.
It can shake people up, right? And in this case, Swajanam, she's your Swajan, right? She's an aunt. She's an aunt. So did I take offense that Devashana left my class?
No.
Here I was talking about such wonderful points and she left for her aunt? No, because you understand that, right? and you understood, and then you came back. So you did the right thing and you came back. This is a very interesting story. Vaisheshika Prabhu tells us about that. And before I go there, I'd like to welcome also Supriya Kurkali Mataji, Sukhdev Prabhu, Sukta, and also Shivatsa is watching us. Wow, Shivatsa. Glad to have you in the class. So, your question, yeah. So Vaisheshika Prabhu tells this very nice story of he was in Vrindavan and he went to meet one of his godbrothers. So he went and knocked at the door, and the servant opened the door and said, so he is the master, I'm forgetting the name, but he is doing deity worship. So then he asked him to sit down and went. So he sat down. He knew that the deity worship is going on. But then his friend stopped the deity worship. He came out and asked him, how are you? Seated him and, asked him if he wanted some water because it's India, it's hot, like that. And then he said, I'm doing deity worship. And then he went back and resumed his deity worship. Do you see? It was why? Because he's seeing a Vaishnava has come into my house. A devotee of Lord Krishna has come into my house. What am I doing? Busy doing worship of Krishna if I don't take care of Krishna's devotees and ask them about water. So so that's why we should not be very rigid in our devotional service. For example, yesterday was Ekadashi. Now you might be the only one having Ekadashi in your home and nobody else has Ekadashi. So we observe Ekadashi. So we have to be cognizant of the fact that if I'm going to thrust, bland sabudana with no haldi in it into my husband's throat, he's not going to like it, either that or me or Krishna. Right? So if they are on that, and if they are there, if they are doing whatever they're doing, let them be there. And one of our senior devotees says that in a wonderful lecture. He says that what Prabhupada told us, and also Krishna consciousness is about this, that in your place, wherever you are, right? In your place, at your pace, at your speed, you get and go for Krishna's grace, right? So our spouses, our family members, they can remain wherever they are, and then they will go at their own pace. They will eat wheat and grains and whatnot on Ekadashi. They will do that, and then let them do that. They will go at their own pace. You give them prasadam. You don't force it on them. And if you have to cook it, cook it. You're not eating it. So don't be paranoid and finicky and like, I am on Ekadashi, brother. I'm not going to touch this, not like that. Krishna said, don't eat grains. He didn't say don't touch them like that, But while you're touching it, also pray to Krishna and say, Krishna, this is grains. Grains are tasty. We like grains. We survive on grains. Grains give us energy. So don't make me succumb to this, and don't let me join forces with my husband and say, okay, Ekadashi can go out of the window. Let's go and sit and have grains. And then there, as a devotee, devotees are super talented. You can see that when you look at the ISKCON devotees and other devotees as well. So you can get creative. You can cook some Ekadashi food, one nice dish for the family, which is like super, super good that they will ask you for it, even on non-Ekadashi days, like that. So it is all about us in the sense that how do we behave? What examples are we setting? What are we doing through our thing?
Mataji, can you please repeat that line one more time? That in your place,
at your place,
at your place,
at your place, in your place. Sorry, in your place, at your pace, at your speed. You look for Krishna's grace or Lord's grace, like that. So going back to the dilemma that you have, when you're faced with dilemma, you have to make use of your intelligence. right? And if the intelligence has gone wrong, then you'll take bad decisions. So a bhramati which a mind which is bhramati, and an intelligence which is bad is a very bad combination. So if you have even a small doubt about your intelligence, don't use it. Go use the intelligence of somebody else. Go and ask somebody else that I am faced with this dilemma. Tell me, what am I supposed to do? Shishyasteham shadi mam tam prapannam. I am your devotee. I am your disciple. Please instruct me, as Arjuna did that.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you so much.
Okay, so then it's 7:51. I know you all have to go and work. So do I. Vanchikalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha gopremanande hari hari bol. Thank you so much for joining us on the call. I see Sophie Mataji is here, and so is Suruchi. Awesome. And I see Garima on the Zoom call. Wow, Garima, always good to see you. I don't know when you sneak in, but that's good. Always nice to have you there. Okay. So all of you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And if you're faced with dilemma, always remember that our service is with you. Okay. Reach out and ask questions.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, can you send me the Nitya Sankirtan once again?
The link, it's there on the WhatsApp group. I posted it last night.
Mataji, I got that. I got the message, but it is the link is not opening. The link which you sent me before, it remains the same. It is not changing.
Okay, I will post the link again on the WhatsApp group. How about that? Does that work?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you
that will work. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and may you not be faced with any dilemma today.
Yes, thank you, Mataji.
Dhanwad Pranam. Jai Prabhupada.